Gotta say, everyone looked pretty good in traditional Japanese clothing. Oh yeah, in case you were wondering, this isn't a yukata or a kimono, it's actually a jinbei, basically pajamas. But if I'm going to do these reviews, I want to do them in something comfy. And thus, we've reached the last of this series of single Precure focused episodes with a lady who may have overtaken Aoi as my favorite Precure of this season, but I'm getting ahead of myself. This episode actually opens with the Precure trying to figure out how to deal with Julio. Yukari in particular is lost in thought. Then again, Yukari has always been the overthinker of this group, possibly even more so than the resident egghead. In fact, when her grandmother tells her she should try and do something more of what she likes, Yukari honestly doesn't know what that might be. And unfortunately, she doesn't have that much time to think such over, as everyone's favorite stalker villain decides to show up. Obviously, Yukari's been suspecting the mysterious transfer student with the deep, creepy voice might in fact be the villain with the deep, creepy voice for a while now, so she decides to play a little Death Note-esque game of chess with him. She invites him and her teammates to a little tea ceremony. They get all dressed up, with Akira being the only girl who wears a men's hakama because of Yukari. Okay, I know I said I really liked Yukari in this episode and everything, but damn you go for denying me Akira in a kimono! Still, it ends up being a very nice, tense tea ceremony that ends with Ichika suffering from a severe case of stiff feet and animation errors. Jeez, you think these animators would notice when the character's arm isn't attached to the rest of them? Afterwards, Yukari ends up having a little talk with Julio, where she admits she suffers from an inferiority complex when comparing herself to her sister. A sister who we've never seen before, and yeah, Yukari is smiling more maliciously than the actual villain of this anime. I really shouldn't after that earlier reference. Ah, what the hell? Following the events of the tea ceremony, Ichika gets the inspiration to make daifuku, essentially mochi treats with some sort of sweet filling inside like fruit and or red bean paste. And of course they have to make them look like some kind of animal, this time of all things, white whales. Yeah, in anime form, they look cute and everything, but then when they made them during the after credit scene in real life, yeah, not so much. In fact, kind of scary. I think I can understand why Ahab wanted to hunt these things down. Anyway, they end up holding a special event where they serve the whales to everyone, and I just realized the horrible subtext behind that, so let's quickly move on. Of the people who come to the event, the Yukari fan club takes great joy in consuming their idol's handmade treats, and of course are later ambushed by Julio. Dude, I don't think you need to steal their Kirakira, just mind control them and you'll have the most terrifying, unstoppable squad of monsters ever. Yukari goes off alone to return a handkerchief left behind by one of the girls, and of course stumbles upon Julio. His weapon this week, I'm pretty sure is a Denden Daiko, a Japanese toy drum basically. Hey, at least it's an actual item this time. By herself, Yukari has a good fight with him until it looks like he catches her in a not at all suggestive looking pose, and Julio takes this time to try and break her spirit. Overconfident in his supposed victory, he ends up mentioning Yukari's sister, a person who she reveals doesn't exist, and who she only mentioned to a certain pretty boy. Checkmate desu. Yeah, this is honestly one of my favorite scenes from this season so far, made even better by the verbal beatdown she gives to the smug snake. She then proceeds to physically wreck Julio even before her friends come in to provide backup. With that, the episode ends with Julio having suffered his greatest defeat so far, and out of anger is ready to launch a new attack. Okay, if this series ends with Julio swimming through a pool of his own blood begging a Shinigami for help, then I will call this the greatest Precure season ever. Until then though, this is a pretty great episode on its own. To me, Yukari is a character who, while you can flesh out, should also remain a stoic badass regardless, and sure enough, they pulled it off. During this episode, Julio pointed out how Yukari doesn't provide any special service to the cashier. This is likely because, as I said, she's an overthinker, which leads to indecisiveness. This was made even worse by the fact that her parents were essentially giving her free range to do what she wanted, leading ironically to even more trepidation. That is something I think a lot of us can relate with. Yet when Julio tried to psychologically break her, she completely countered him by simply admitting that she was well aware of her own flaws. She became the way she is not because of those around her, but because she chose to be like this. She won't run away no matter how difficult things may get and continue to become a better person. You have no idea how much I wish more anime protagonists would have the balls to say stuff like that. After this episode, I have to admit, Yukari is a strong, admirable character and probably one of the greatest assets this anime has going forward. Sorry to say, next week's review is going to be late. I gotta go up to San Jose to see my sister. she's getting married next spring, and I gotta go meet my new brother-in-law and everything. Luckily, there's gonna be a big con up there to keep me busy, and I'm gonna be taking my laptop with me, so I should at least have something up by Tuesday or so. Look forward to it, plus the Hardcast Precure review that's about 50% done at this point. I hopefully should have it done by this week, if not the following week. And until then, though, farewell for now, my friends, and... Why do these things keep falling in my place?